It can be really cool in a mix sometimes to have a vocal that you want to spread out really wide. Maybe it's just a creative effect, or maybe you want to try to create the sense of a double where you didn't have a double in the first place. There are lots of plugins which do this, but I want to show you some ways of doing this manually, and the reason is control. You're sort of, in a way, building your own widening plugin, but you get to choose the components that you want in order to create exactly the width effect that you like. Let me show you how to do that. Hello, my name's Alexander White, and every week I'm bringing you music production tips and techniques. So let me show you this vocal widening technique. I'll just play a little bit of this track, and there's a little area in this verse that I think could work really cool just to snap it out super wide, just as a special effect right before we hit into the chorus. Here's the track.
Tell me where this leaves us now. What's left that you will still allow? I can't see this from your point of view. Oh, it's time for me to start anew. 'Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna be leaving. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm still standing alone, independent, 'cause I don't need a companion. And I'm tired of our misunderstandings.
That little vocal just on the second part of it, this here,
'Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna be leaving. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it.
could sound really cool super wide. So let me show you how to set this up. First of all, we will duplicate exactly the same, the lead vocal track. So I've got a control surface down here, so I can just press it with one button. So duplicate track. If I wanted to do this, just keyboard and mouse, right click here, duplicate, or there's the shortcut there as well. The next stage is to just copy this vocal part down to there, just the bit that we're interested in. So I can use tab to transient, or I can just zoom in and roughly select where I want it to be. It's not too critically important. I'll probably edit it later anyway. So there we go. I'll copy it, move down to this track and paste the vocal. Now, if I just play back this vocal as it is, it's going to sound basically the same. Let's have a listen.
'Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna be leaving. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I...
Except just a bit louder. If I pan them hard left and hard right, of course, because they're exactly the same copy of the vocal, it's just going to sound pretty much like it's in the middle.
'Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna be leaving. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I...
Even though the vocal is hard left,
'Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna be leaving. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I...
and hard right on the other side. So the first thing to do to make this widening work is we'll jump over to our mixer, and on the copy track here, I'm going to add a delay. Here we go. So setting up the delay looks a little like this. What we have to do is make sure, first of all, that our delay is soloed or 100% wet. We only want to hear on the lead Vox copy track, we only want to hear the results of the delay. We don't want any of the dry signal in there at all. Next, I want to come over here and make sure there's no modulation on this particular delay. You can have a little bit of chorus, and I don't want that on yet. It might come in useful later, but for now, we'll just leave it there. Also, on a lot of delays, you get filters, just so when your repeats kind of happen on say a normal delay setup, they kind of sound a little bit more filtered, which is a cool kind of sound. But in this case, I want a perfect copy. Next, what I want to do is make sure that my recirculation, or what is often called feedback or something like that in delays, it's just the number of repeats. So you've just got to make sure that's set to 0, because what we want to do is only have one repeat, just one perfect copy of the lead vocal. Then sometimes, this is a stereo delay, so although it's on a mono track, it kind of has two delay lines. What I want to do is just make sure I've got that muted. So really what I've set up here is just one delay making a perfect copy. Now I'll bring this down to about 30 milliseconds, which is a great place to start, and I'll hit play. And now what we should hear is a very simple version of a big wide vocal.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of.
If you wanted, you could just leave it there, and that would be a cool little fast effect just to spread the vocal out and then pop it back into the center for a powerful chorus. But we can do some more interesting things now because we've made we're sort of making a bespoke widening plugin, if you like. We can do anything, and I think that's what's really fun about this technique is we can do things like, say, the chorus here. We can just decide on how much chorus we want to build into this.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings.
And actually, as I'm adjusting it, you can hear that delay getting a little longer and a little shorter just due to the modulation, which sounds really fun. So just have a little bit in there and it starts moving and oscillating a little bit differently to, again, keep spreading that delay wider.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings.
Maybe we'll bring this delay down to 25 milliseconds just to keep it a little tighter. Let's have a listen.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it.
Also, what I quite like to do when I'm doing something like this and I'm making something that is a little bit more beyond just what a normal plugin widener will do, is actually add a bit of distortion. So what I'll do is I'll grab an 1176 and I will solo this up for a second. And with the 1176, I'm going to set it up as a distortion box. So I'll click off on the attack, which means now there's no compression happening. It's just going to distort if I drive the input really hard. So let's just set this up.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm still standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings.
Okay, playing that back.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm still standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings.
So I'm just doing a little bit of rebalancing there.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion.
And we're getting a little bit of a sound like, like there are two vocalists now because we're starting to get a different enough sound. But then you can be really cool and you can go, okay, well now, why don't I just add a bit of delay to that side? So we're slightly delaying the delayed signal. Let's do a slapback kind of a thing. Let's add some of this. For this, I'm actually going to keep the mix to, maybe only a few percent. We'll just see how it sounds. Back this up a little bit. Let's try it.
Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings. Cause now I'm seeing that you're gonna believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel it even if I really don't need it. But I'm just standing alone in the bed, cause I don't need a companion, and I'm tired of all misunderstandings.
And you can see how this kind of technique just keeps making the voice bigger and more interesting. And you can just keep adding your own plugin chain to this. You can be really creative. What happens if you use some flanger, phaser, all these kinds of effects which can really make this moment in the music sound really interesting. So I wanted to share this with you just because it's a really interesting extra kind of stage beyond just your normal widening plugins, which of course are only going to be designed based on what the designer thought to do. But with this, you can just add your own plugins and make your own super wide vocals And this also applies to other instruments too. Don't just stop with vocals. Try electric guitar, see how that sounds. There's, snare drum can be pretty crazy if you add some of that in. So many cool ideas. Anyway, I hope you've had fun with this little tip. Try it out. Let me know. If you want more music production tips and tricks, head to my website, recordwithalex.com. I've got a free guide there, which is just a whole bunch of really interesting ways of thinking about mixing. It's a complete mixing workflow, a 6-step mixing workflow that I think will really help you really wrangle your mixes and really improve if you've been struggling. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week on another video.